Moving ahead now, education is a fundamental human right and the bedrock of national development.
In less than 10 months, Nigeria, Africa's most populous black nation, will be 60 years old since gaining independence from Britain in 1960. The Nigerian education system has been through a lot of transformation since then.
Many Nigerians believe that the quality of education available now cannot in any way be compared to what obtained in the 1960s and 70s. And they say Nigerian universities were once a model for other African higher institutions, but have now lost their days of glory.
Governments over the years have pledged to revitalize the education sector. Will that pledge become the reality before Nigeria turns 60? Very pertinent question.
Of course, very central, central question there.
Joining us now is an educationist, Oludotun Shodunke. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
Thanks for having me.
Right.
Now, like we rightly pointed out, when you talk about education in Nigeria, how it was in the 60s and 70s, people refer to that time as the best times or the best years when the guys that got the best kind of education in Nigeria. One wonders what changed between then and now.
I think that those that got the best education in Nigeria then somehow are the ones handling our education sector now.
Oh.
And unfortunately, they cannot reciprocate what they got then. That's the unfortunate thing. Let me just summarize it by saying this. Our education system in Nigeria is now being disturbed by three things.
What are they?
Terror, error, and horror.
Okay.
Break it down.
We're in the classroom now, so let's
listen.
Now, the terrors are those people at the ends of affair handling education. We put the square peg in round hole. Political elites. Because this person is a member of my political party, he has to be the Minister of Education. And you will see a professor becoming the Minister of State for Education. And now the present setting, both the Minister of Education and the Minister of State, you know, they don't really know much about education. That's one. Professionals are not there. So they are the terrors. The terrors are also the heads of most examination. You can see recently, JAMB registrar that introduced NIN. In the same climb, the registrar would have resigned. They would have called for his resignation. People like us could not come out to protest because if we do, he will say those tutorial centers because they want to do exam and practice. I'm coming.
Okay.
That is terror-like. Some students protested in Unilag because of what they are passing through. And they were rusticated. These are first-class material. And they are roaming the street today. And nobody is talking. That is terror. So those are the ends of affair are the terrors. The errors are the policy they are introducing. 6334 is not working. Basic 1 to 9 is not working. All that they are introducing is not working because their intention is bad. So they have good policy. Execution is zero. So when terror introduces policy, it becomes erroneous. Error. The students that consume this policy, they become horror. And that is why we have doctors today that are killers. Ordinary ear problem, our president cannot treat in Nigeria because we have horrors. So those horrors today have become lecturers in university. They become terror, and it goes in circle. So we have terror, error, horror.
Okay. It's like being in the classroom, actually. We're still in school one way or the other. But let's come to the real issues here now. The policies that we have, a lot of people, like you said, have complained about the somersaulting and all of that. But we had a template. If we refer to the 60s and 70s as the good old days for education, there has been a template. The formula for what we succeeded at that time is there. The files are there and all of that. So why is it difficult for those now to copy that and paste it with a little modification to fit into the 21st century?
Why is it that, I want to be like a typical Nigerian, why is it that our best in Nigeria have been in the past in all aspects? So it's a systemic problem. and we could see that it's continuing. The annoying thing is that we can allow it to happen in every other sector, no problem. But in education, the way it's happening, there's no future for this country.
Wow. Such a very, very tough.
All right,
call
we have to leave it here now,
there.
really. Thank you very much for coming on the program. And thanks for the lecture on the terror, error, and horror.
Thank you,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Shoduke.
We hope for that to change, certainly. In less than 10 months, Nigeria, Africa's most populous black nation, will be 60 years old since gaining independence from Britain in 1960. And the Nigerian education system has been through a lot of transformation since then.
Many Nigerians believe that the quality of education available now cannot in any way be compared to what obtained in the 60s and 70s. They say Nigerian universities were once a model for other African higher institutions, but have now lost their days of glory.
Now, governments over the years have pledged to revitalize the education sector. Would that pledge become the reality before Nigeria turns 60, or as Nigeria turns 60? That's a big question.
Joining us now is an educationist, Oludotu Shoduke. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, good morning.
Nice to have you, Joyce.
Thank you for having me.
Sometime last year, there was a clamor or a call to return schools back to the original owners who are missionaries. And the question have arisen that is that the way to go if we are to return back to our glory days?
Oh, well, I think that that's not a bad idea, but go and check what those schools are charging. Are they really missionary schools? As it were, are they really missionary? Are they really for Christ or for Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as it were? Because if they are really for that, they won't be charging as much as 250,000, 350,000 per term. So many people cannot afford it.
But at the grassroots level, secondary schools that came under missionary, that missionaries brought, were almost as free of charge those days.
That is what we are saying, that when you talk, you see, that is the problem with Nigeria. Anything that is, being used successfully elsewhere, when it comes here, there will be Nigerian context to it. Now there's Nigerian context to missionary, and that is making money for God.
No, but they have to maintain the schools and maintain standards.
If it is truly missionary that we know, a lot of people that pass through missionary school paid close to nothing.
Yeah, but we know that those missionary schools were funded by the colonial governments that time. So the people here didn't need to pay anything.
Okay, if they even have to get money to fund it, the fee is too high, too much. Okay, let me give you an instance. A school like Igbinedion University charges less than schools like Covenant University. Covenant is missionary. Igbinedion is an individual. So if it's about religion, tell me who I will follow.
All right. Well, in as much as we might not necessarily go into the schools and all of that, but as it is right now, we have said that public schools and government schools, as it is, that champion a lot of educational issues in the country, are not necessarily meeting up the standard and quality of what we expect. Now, the private schools coming on board, from the nursery to secondary, primary, secondary, and all of that, are they changing that narrative of the quality of education?
Few of them are actually trying.
Okay.
But we have this set of people that have so much money, like money laundering stuff, and they look at where to keep the money or what to tie the money down, and it is through education. So they have the building, they have everything, but they lack content. So you see a child paying so much for school, and the child does not have the stuff. And at the same time, we have some private schools that have the stuff, but they don't have the structure, they don't have the equipment, they don't have what it takes. They cannot afford what my mathematics friend was saying to give to students for them to learn. You see, in all of this, I just want us to know that in Nigeria, and the government should know one thing: before they start fixing less than 2% for budgets of education, which is really affecting us, they should know that for a country to be brought to an end, you don't need a grenade, you don't need a bomb. All that you need to do is to kill its education the way they are killing Nigeria education. It's just a matter of time. I don't want to sound like a prophet of doom, but
something it has to be addressed really fast.
Right.
Oludotu Shoduke, thank you for your time on TVC Breakfast.
Thank you.
All right, that's the much we can take for today, right?
That's all for today right now. Let's tell you that the views and reaction of our resource persons on the topics discussed today are their views and have no connection with TVC News.